Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of my National League South predictions. So, it's the Easter weekend, there's going to be fixtures over the course of Friday and Saturday. A lot of games, this could be the game of the weekend which proves decisive, especially in the relegation battle. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Just before we get into the predictions, I'm just going to quickly glance over the game that took place yesterday between Truro City and Concord. And Concord comfortably won 3-1 in the end. Alex Wall and Jack Midson put the host into a 2-goal lead on 45 minutes, but just a minute after Concord got their second, Tyler Harvey, top scorer for Truro, scored a penalty to reduce the deficit. Sam Ashford made it 3-1 in the 57th minute, and then Dial got sent off for Truro in the 64th minute. And a comfortable result for Concord in the end, comfortably dispatching of Truro, which could have been a tricky game for them. It's a tough place to go, especially on a Tuesday night. Nevertheless, Concord are now up to 7th on 61 points from 39. This playoff race is really tight now, but as I said, it could prove decisive this Easter weekend of fixtures. Truro is still in the relegation mix on 37 points. They're level on points with Hungerford in the drop zone. And that result also means that Dulwich and Hampton, my team, are mathematically safe from relegation now, as Truro still have to play Gloucester, meaning they both can't get max points. So let's go straight on to the fixture predictions for Saturday and Saturday and Friday. Starting off with the games on Friday, we have Chippenham Town going up against Torquay United. And Torquay obviously have already won the league with their result against Eastbourne and Woking stepping up at Chelmsford, so they have got nothing to play from now. They may feel they could just rotate the squad a little bit, give some time to some fringe players of the squad, or they just could go looking to end the season on as many points as possible. Chippenham, in contrast, haven't got anything to play for either. They're stuck in mid-table. They had a good result at Dartford last week, so could cause an upset with Torquay, with both teams got nothing to play for. They can just play with freedom now. The last time these two sides met was back in 2018, obviously, at Playmore, and Chippenham managed to run out 1-0 winners thanks to a Smith goal in the 25th minute. Only goal of the game, giving Chippenham all the 3 points. That was during Torquay's sticky spell that they had when Gary Ells was in charge. Torquay are unbeaten in their last 5. Chippenham have only won 1 of their last 5. So as a prediction, I think Torquay will still win this. I think they'll win 2-1. I don't think it'll be easy for them. Chippenham won't make it easy for them. I think Torquay will win this one 2-1 though. So the next game to take place is a big game for both teams for totally different reasons. As Hungerford Town go up against Bath City in a fairly localish game, but I don't think either team consider it as a rivalry much. So Hungerford are obviously desperately need the points for the relegation battle, and Bath obviously are desperate to stay in the playoffs. They're in a bit of danger of stepping out, as they have had a bit of a sticky spell. They've started to lose a few games on the trot recently. Hungerford obviously did have their little good spell recently, but they have recently just lost 2 on the trot, so they've started to step away a little bit. They need to start picking up points. Head-to-head wise, Hungerford's last 5 games, they've lost 2 of their last 5. So the last 2 on the trot was against Dulwich and Slough, and they won the previous 3 before that. Bath are currently winless in their 5, losing their last 2 on the trot, and then drawing the 3 before that. And the last time these sides met was back at Twerton Park early on the season on the 8th of September, and Bath ran out 4-1 winners thanks to a double from Ryan Brunt, Anthony Straker with the 3rd goal before half time, and Rob Cundy making it 4. Lynch did pull a goal back for Hungerford as well from the spot on the 64th minute, but Bath held up for the 3 points. This is a tricky one to predict with both sides out of sorts lately. Both sides are definitely going to be up for it because they're both going to need the points, so I could easily see it going either way. But I think I'm going to just back Bath for this one for a narrow 2-1 away victory in their bid to get in the playoffs. I think they will stay as well with their 2-1 victory here on Friday. Similar battle to the last game is between St Albans City and Eastbourne United, so both teams are desperate for it. However, Eastbourne are slightly behind. It looks like they have given up as well from what their manager says. He's preparing for relegation. Just waiting. It could be only a matter of time. It's a matter of if, when, not if, they will be relegated. So Eastbourne do look a bit depleted. St Albans, on the other hand, are putting together a late playoff charge, and they're level on points of Concord inside the playoffs. They're in 8th place, St Albans, Concord in 7th. So they've got a really good chance, which didn't look likely just a few weeks ago. So they're going to definitely be up for this. Head-to-head wise, St Albans' last 5 games they've really picked up. Only lost 1 of their last 5 against Gloucester at home, and they've won 2 and drawn the other 2 of those 5. Eastbourne's form has gone to absolute pot recently, losing 4 of their last 5, and their one other one just being a 2-1 victory at home against Chippenham Town. Last time these sides met was back on 8th of September. Eastbourne were hosted the game. They lost 4-2 at Hampton, and so Sam Mercer puts St Albans in the front. But then a Sam Higgins penalty and Jack Simmons' goal turned it around for Eastbourne, giving the lead on the stroke of half time. Then in the 88th, 90th, and 91st minute, 3 goals completely turned it back in St Albans' favour, just breaking Eastbourne hearts. Show Silver making it 2-2. Sam Mercer making it 3-2, and then Carl Da Costa making it 4-2, wrapping up a brilliant performance from Albans in the last minute of the game, giving them all 3 points. After this game, I think I can only see it going one way. I think it will be the way of the Saints. I think it could be a comfortable one as well. I think Eastside will struggle here. I believe they can go. I think they can go down mathematically this weekend, but it will depend on other results. I think St Albans will win this one 3-1, continuing their charge into the playoffs. Massive game in the playoff race, arguably the game of the day between Welling United and Chelmsford City. So these two sides are both desperately want that semi-final place so they can automatically qualify and avoid having to go through an extra round of the playoffs. Both these sides doing the front runners to that place. Welling own third on 70 points, and Chelmsford just behind them in fourth on 69. So this is huge for both teams. This should be a big crowd as well. Massive for both teams. Both teams are in fairly iffy runs of form. Both come off the back with dodgy runs of form. Welling obviously lost at Slough, putting an end to their really good unbeaten run, because before that they were unbeaten in their last 4, so that one's made them lose 1 of their last 5. Chelmsford did have an iffy run of form. They've just won 3 of their last 5, and those other 2 have been losses, both 3-1 against sides, albeit good sides, one against Torquay and one against St Albans, both away from home. Last time these sides met, back on the 8th of September, was a all ball draw, all square, 0-0 draw. However, Sean Batt did get sent off for Chelmsford in the 90th minute, but the 2 teams shared the points. It's a tricky one to predict. Really, really tricky one to predict. You can see it going either way. Welling have got a fabulous home record, second best home team in the league, only to Torquay. Away from home, Chelmsford are really good as well, though, 5th best. So it's a tough one. Again, it's really tricky to predict. A draw wouldn't surprise me, and I think it'll be high scoring, and I think it'll be a 2-2 draw between these 2 sides. Both will have to share the points, and it will put Welling in a good position, but I think it'll be 2-2 between these 2 sides. The final game for Friday is between Woking and Concord Rangers. So Woking's almost taken a battering recently, which has seen him completely throw the league away and step out of the title race and hand it to Torquay United. Concord, in contrast, did have a poor result on Saturday against Oxford, but they bounced back last night at Truro, continuing their push into the playoffs and defying all odds this season. And this is a banana skin for Woking. It's not going to be easy, even with their good home record. Concord are good away from home as well, though, which is pushing them up to where they are. 8th best away team in the league, and Woking are the 5th best home team, so they have dropped off a little bit because of their poor results they've had recently. Head to head, as I said, Woking have not won a game in their last 5. They've drawn 3 of them and lost 2 of them. Concord, however, are really inconsistent to say them is the only word you can describe here. Of the last 5 games, they've won 3 and drawn and lost 2, so it's gone 1 loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. So, and the last time these 2 sides met was back in 2018, the 8th of September. The 2 sides played out a 1-1 draw. Greg Lure fired Woking in the final, but a red card for Dwayne for reaction prong, 11 minutes in time, gave Concord the fight to get back into the game, and they did with a 90th minute equaliser from Billy Knott, sharing the points, giving Concord a well-deserved equaliser. A tough game to predict here. It can go either way. You can easily see it going either way, but I think it will be a draw here between these 2 sides. As a result, I think Woking will take the lead first. I think it'll be a similar pattern to the last game they played, and Concord will fight and will get a late equaliser eventually. So I think it will be 1-1 again between these 2 sides, further strengthening Concord's run into the playoffs. Moving on to Saturday's games, we start off with Billericay Town against Hemel Hempstead Town. So Billericay, after having some dodgy sort of run of form lately, they bounced back with an emphatic 4-1 victory away at Gloucester on Saturday, which is massive for them to continue their bid into the playoffs. Hemel have had nothing to play for a while now. They've had a shaky one a spell, but they're going to end the season with about 40, probably around where they are in 14th at the moment. They're not going to go up or down because they've had a really bad run of spell, didn't they, until recently when they started to pick up points again. Billericay's last 5 games, just the sole win on Saturday out of Gloucester over the last 5 games. The other 4 have been 3 losses and a draw. Hemel's form over the last 5 have been 2 draws, 2 wins and a loss, so inconsistent again. You have to say, don't know way you can describe it. Last time they met was back on the 8th of September, and Hemel hosted the game, losing 2-1 at home to them. Adam Cunnington and Moses Emmanuel with the 2 goals in the second half. Emmanuel got off in stoppage time to seal the win for Billericay, taking all 3 points back to Essex. And I think I could see Billericay winning this, if I'm honest, with Hemel are looking shaky. They do tend to choke against them fairly, teams that are high up in the league, and Billericay obviously will have the confidence after their emphatic 4-1 victory against Gloucester. So I will back Billericay for this one. I will say 2-0 to Billericay, strengthening their chances in the playoffs. Another huge game for both teams for different reasons between Eastbourne Borough and Dartford. So Dartford's form has gone to absolute pot recently, is the only way to describe it. Like, they've had games, easy games, you have to say, against Hampton, Truro, Weston and Chippenham. That's 4 games. You've got to be looking at max points at least from that. Max points on this, you've got to be thinking they can easily get max points to them. But they've only managed 2, and there were 2 draws against Hampton and Truro, both which were very lucky. So they've seen them completely drop out of the playoffs into 9th place. They're a point behind. They're still level on points with the team inside the playoffs, Concord, but it has seen them drop out. Eastbourne, in contrast, there's no word to describe them. I think Eastbourne are going to go down, if I'm honest. I think I can't see where they're going to get any points from the games against Concord, Slough and Dartford, which are their final 3 games. Mark McGee hasn't done it. Pullman hasn't seemed to work for Mark McGee. He still hasn't got a win. They're only a point outside the drop zone. And even though Dartford have looked shaky recently, obviously losing at Weston, I think Dartford will bounce back here, and I think they will plunge Eastbourne into their relegation doom. I think even though they are looking on the up, even though both teams' form was pretty dire recently. Obviously, Eastbourne have won in the last 5, 4 losses and a draw. Dartford, the 3 losses and 2 draws. So neither team can win a game for love nor money. But even though despite the last time these 2 sides met was back at Prince's Park, actually last time these sides met was in the FA Trophy, and Dean Cox double put them Dartford 2-0 in front. For a late salvo from Dartford in the 89th minute, Coker equalised and Pullman back, then Fisher equalised in the 92nd minute to secure what appeared to be a replay, but it wasn't to be, as Tom Gardner struck late in the 94th minute to send Eastbourne through into the next round. League-wise, the last time these 2 sides met was back on the 8th of September at Priory Lane, on the 14th of April 2018, and then it was played at a 1-0 draw for Dartford. Danny Mills last season gave Dartford the sole victory and the 3 points that they needed. Prediction wise, I think Dartford are going to bounce back. I think they will play into their 1 form against the poor Eastbourne side. I won't think it'll be easy for them though. I think they'll just edge it 1-0 to strengthen their playoff chances and just plunge Eastbourne into relegation doom and just put fears for them. And because I think they will go down, because I can't see where they're going to get points from. Either them, Truro or Hungerford, I think it'll be. I think Gloucester are going to just survive. I'm not sure. It's hard to call. It's impossible. But anyway, 1-0 Dartford is my prediction. Oxford City and Slough who go up against each other. So Slough currently sitting in 11th place on 58 points. They're 3 off the playoffs. So a playoff chance, which looked really unlikely a few weeks ago, is back on the cards for them. If they want to have to stop winning, though, it is unlikely. It's probably going to be out of from Concord down to Wealdstone. Slough probably just a little too far away, but you never know. If they start winning and teams start slipping up, anything can happen. And Oxford are in 12th on 53. So Oxford did have a poor 1 form, but they have started to pick up a lot lately with 4 wins from their last 5, which is pretty magnificent now. Looks a lot more pleasing for their fans. Slough as well are unbeaten in their last 5 with 4 wins and a draw, so things are looking brilliantly, especially there at Albert Park. And they'll be magnificent for them. They've done a great job, Baker and Underwood, in charge back in their first season, back up in the National South. Last time these 2 sides met was back in September. Dobson penalty gave Slough the lead in 16 minutes, and on the stroke of half time, Oxford went down to 10 as Osler was shown a straight red for a poor challenge. In the 60th minute, Fleet put through his own net to double Slough's lead, and it stayed that way, and Slough picked up all 3 points and sending Oxford home pointless back to Oxfordshire. So, tricky one. It is a tricky one to call because they're both in brilliant ones of form, both in similar positions, but Slough are iffy away from home. They do tend to concede a lot away from home, Slough. It's a tricky one. They're not Oxford are ish at home. It's a tricky one to call. I think Slough will just edge this one. I think it'll be 2-1 to the away team here, and Slough will continue their late charge for the playoffs, even though it's unlikely. You never know what happened. So I'm going to predict a 2-1 away victory for Slough. The massive game down the bottom of the table is arguably the game of the day between Truro City and Gloucester City. So both sides are desperately need the 3 points here. A loss is no good. A loss will be terrible. A draw is not really the best either. So they've got to win, and even whoever does win will drag Eastbourne back into it as well. So massive for both teams. Truro and Gloucester are not in great runs of form at all. Neither of them are. Truro are winless in their 5. Gloucester are inconsistent, even though they have won 2 of their last 5. They just can't put together a good run. So they've won 2 of their last 5. 2 wins have been there, 2 losses in their last 5, and then 1 draw as well. Last time these 2 sides met was back at the Spires and Hartwell Jubilee Stadium in September, and Gloucester hosted Truro, and then Truro ran out 2-0 winners thanks to an own goal from Yates for Gloucester in the 38th minute, putting them in front, before Ben Harding doubled Truro's lead in the 78th minute, securing all 3 points and taking all 3 points back to Cornwall with them. Tricky one to call. Truro are pretty woeful at home. Then again, Gloucester aren't that much better away from home. But Gloucester have still got an atrocious record of scoring barely any this season. They've scored the lowest of all teams in the league, just 28, which is in comparison to Truro, who've scored 57. That's thanks to mainly the goals of Tyler Harvey, who's kept them up this season, who's saved them. Without them, they'd be rock bottom with Weston possibly. Tricky one to call. I think Truro will come out fighting. Gloucester will probably try to sit back a little bit. I think Truro might just edge this one, you know. I'm going to back Truro for this one, but I think it'll be a narrow 1-0 victory. I think it'll be scrappy. I don't think it'll be really fun to watch, but 1-0 to Truro is my prediction. Next game to take place between Wealdstone and mathematically safe Dulwich Hamlet. So Wealdstone are obviously still chasing the playoffs now. They obviously had the loss at Hampton last week, on Saturday, sorry, which disappointed their fans a lot, actually. They'll be disappointed with that. They dropped out the playoffs. It's not exactly in their hands now either. Dulwich, in contrast, have survived thanks to the Concord winning at Truro last night, and in part their victory over Hungerford on Saturday too. So along with Hampton, they've got no pressure now. They've got nothing to play for now. They can just play without any freedom or any pressure of a relegation battle. So despite that, though, Wealdstone have got something to play for. They have got the playoffs, so they're going to need to attack, and they're going to need goals. They're going to need wins. Wealdstone's last 5 games have been 2 losses, 2 wins, and a draw. Obviously, the loss coming at Hampton last time out. And Dulwich, however, have won 3 of their last 5, looking much positive their form. They've also drawn and lost 1 as well, so it is a little bit inconsistent. They would have liked a little bit more inconsistency, but they'll be happy that they're safe too. And the last time earlier they met on the season was when they met earlier on in the season. Wealdstone took the lead in the 23rd minute thanks to a Bradley Hudson-Odoi penalty. It said that way in for a large amount of the game, but 10 minutes from time, Anthony Cook equalised to Dulwich, securing a point, which was probably a bit cheating at the time. I mean, the 2 teams had to share the points, and both sides sharing the points, as I said. As for this game, it's a tricky one to call. Again, they're all tricky ones to call, especially at this time. Wealdstone have got an okay-ish home record, alright-ish. Dulwich away from home are not the great. This is what has let Dulwich down. Their away form is pretty woeful. One of the worst away teams, 4th worst away team. Squad has let them down. That's what's dragged them into this relegation battle. So, having said that, I think Wealdstone are going to bounce back here, but I think they won't. I think Dulwich will make it easy for them, because it should be a big crowd there as well, because it's a localish game, and both fans are fairly lively. So I'm not going to back Wealdstone, actually. I'm going to change my mind. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I think both sides will attack, and both sides will have to share the points again. So 2-2 is my prediction. It will probably end Wealdstone's playoff chances realistically too. And the final game of the weekend is Weston-super-Mare and my team, Hampton and Richmond Borough. So I believe Weston can actually go down on Friday if results go their way. If not, I believe we can send them down, but I think we have to rely on other results as well. So first of all, I've got to say again, fair play to Weston for still showing fight. Even though they look down and out, they've won their last 2 games against teams, albeit one was against Dartford, which was magnificent, and the last one against Eastbourne, which just plunged them into them as well. So fair play to them for winning. So this isn't going to be easy by any means, because they're still showing fight. They're not going down without a fight either. So you've got nothing to play for now. Obviously, you've survived thanks to Concord winning last night and our win against Wealdstone on Saturday. So we've got nothing to play for. Weston sit rock bottom on 31 points, and 39. They're 6 from safety. Realistically, they're going to have to win all of their remaining games if they want to stay up, and hope other teams step up. We're on 16 on 45. We're not going to go. We've got nothing to play for now. The highest you can probably finish is 14th, but then we need Hemel to slip up and Dulwich to slip up too. So unrealistic. Weston's form, as I said, they've won their last 2. Before that, they lost 2 and they drew 1 as well. Our form is inconsistent-ish. We've won our last 2 and we've lost 2 and drawn 1 as well of those 5. And the last time we played Weston was back at home on the 8th of September. We managed to run out 3-1 winners thanks to a double from Craig Dundas and Chris Dixon Salvo within 6 minutes of each other. Zach Joseph got the 3rd after a brilliant strike. Remember that, brilliant strike and a brilliant finish into the corner. Jamie Lucas then reduced the deficit for Weston 5 minutes later from the spot, making it 3-1. But apart from that, nothing really happened, and we managed to hold out for the 3-1 victory. And at the time, it was a good result for us, so we were high up in the table. How things have changed, eh? As would say, I've got a feeling it could be a similar outcome. I think this will be the day that Weston finally drop into the Southern League South, and I think we will run away with a 3-1 away victory, deepening Weston and sending them down to which we're pretty sure will send them down mathematically to the Southern League South. And that's all it for my predictions this weekend. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications below. If you have any comments and questions for me down below, leave them below. I'll see you for my next video soon, which will be my roundup. I'll also put my predictions for the following weekend there. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video.